At She Can, we're leading with women's stories. We are leading with our examples by interviewing women from all over the world and listen how they got to where they are today. I'm very excited to talk to Anna Jones today. Anna, welcome to She Can. You're the founder of Your AJency. You're a strategic marketing expert helping your clients gain visibility. You are your client's biggest cheerleader. You understand their secret sauce. You build great stories and you find them the right audiences. Tell us a bit more about yourself and what you do.
Sure. So yeah, I do work with female founders. I set up Your AJency initially in Chicago, where I was living there, we went there for my husband's job initially. It was mid-pandemic, and I decided I needed sort of a new lease of life. And I went to a country full of what I thought were extremely confident women, and felt quite intimidated at first when I first moved there. So I'd had a business back in the UK that was very localized. I was living in the Cotswolds and I was doing a lot with venues and finding like hidden gems in the Cotswolds at the time. But obviously that time, going to Chicago, having to set my family up in a new country, it was the first time I'd lived abroad with my whole family, with children. I'd done it before, lived in India before, but only with my husband and I. And I just thought, now's the time. Like someone said, Anna, you're wasted. You need to do something. And I was like, I know, but what? And I really was in a dilemma of what exactly to do. So my journey wasn't sort of a traditional to get into that. So I started off exclusively offering social media management. I'd been doing marketing, like traditional marketing. I'd done an extra qualification with something called Digital Mums, which was helping like women who had had babies and were trying to think of how, because my background is retail, so I knew that I didn't want to do that, go back into that with children. I'd run like flagship stores for M&S and Topshop, and I was just like, I can't, that's not feasible if I want to have the right work-life balance with and be there for my children. So that's kind of where it started. So I started in Chicago. It's actually my birthday, 4 years of my business this month. So I started in Chicago, and then 2 years in, we decided through work reasons mainly, but like we decided to come back to the UK. My son had a year till he was starting secondary school, and we wanted to be in the UK for that. So I kind of had to start again because we didn't return to the Cotswolds. We went to a whole new area of the UK. So I'm now based in Manchester. I went there knowing literally nobody. But luckily, with the power of visibility, for showing up, with networking, with just putting myself out there, doing a lot of talks and various things, I have built an amazing community and found loads and loads of fantastic, talented, like-minded women here. So now I kind of help in multitude of ways to those women, including some group programs, some mentoring, as well as still doing some of the social media, but it's much more the strategy part and the planning. And I've slowly built my team of experts now. So I have a team that I collaborate with, and that's where I sort of have become this, I'd say micro, we're not, not some huge agency or something, but this sort of micro, but very powerful, to lots of female founders, full service sort of marketing agency.
Anna, which sounds amazing. And it sounds like you had to pivot quite a few times, reinvent yourself. And that's all really incredible energy that you put into your work. Tell us a little bit about the things that really motivate you. What is it that you enjoy so much about working with your female founders, helping them find their voice, their audience? What is it that really gets you up in the morning?
I think for me, having kind of had that reinvention of myself, I know there are many, like thousands, millions of talented women who make a change for whatever reason. In my case, following my husband's job, they might have a family. They've had a pivotal point in their life where they're like, I can't stick, maybe illness, whatever it is. It's like they've had a moment in their career where they've thought, I can't do, whether it's like a corporate career or this is not what I want to do in 20 years. I don't want to still be doing this in 20 years time. But what happens in that time is those people then sort of lose confidence because they're not in their comfort zone. They're, for the first time, probably often in their lives, they're having to sell themselves and kind of have to explain to people why they're brilliant. And they're like, oh, just like I hate this. It's so uncomfortable. I have to show up on camera. I have to do this. It's all very foreign to a lot of them, but actually they're extremely talented at what they do. And so my motivator is like getting that out of them to realize how talented they are, to build their confidence, and to share it with the world. Like, so that, because there's so many people, and I always talk about, if you by showing up can just help one person every day, then you've kind of made it. Like, because that's, it's you know, under everything I do, I want to help women. I want to help women succeed. I love seeing them succeed. I love seeing the results. I've got a commercial background, so if someone says I really want to get to this goal, then we're going to try our damned hardest to hit those goals together and work really collaboratively, because they'll have ideas, I'll have ideas, and together that then, you know, two or three minds on it really sort of lights their fuel, and suddenly they start to realize, oh, that's not a talent that everyone has. Because a lot of people say, well, I'm this coach, or I'm that coach, and I'm said, but nobody is you. And that's why the whole storytelling, showing up authentically as themselves, is what I want to bring out in those female founders.
Anna, and what do you feel are your qualities that you bring to the table that helps you with that mission?
um Definitely my energy levels, my sort of excitement and enthusiasm. I think underlying to all of this is my power to connect with people, like on connect the dots. So it's sort of two prong. It's that I am I've had to set up my life in many different countries, and the only way that you can enjoy that new life when you go to somewhere foreign and you know nobody, you know, don't know how things work, is you have to talk to people.
Yeah.
And so actually these experiences of living abroad are invaluable in that. And that means then I don't mind. Of course, it doesn't mean I don't get nervous or have like those wobbles when I go into like a networking thing for the first time and think, oh, you know, how to introduce myself or what, you know, those, it's not that I'm always like so confident, but I think underlying to me is like I can pull out and know, like I intuitively know if that person is someone that I think brings like the right energy, the right skill, and I can kind of assess that and then think, and then straight away my mind goes into, oh my goodness, they could help this person, they could help, and then all these dots start to connect, and we can then create more magic together, like between those different people. So it could be just, it could be the collaboration can be in so many different ways. It could be on a project where I'm giving them work. It could be putting them on my platform. It could be just saying you should speak to this person because I think you're so aligned and I think you'd get on really well and I think you could do something amazing together. So it's really different how that sort of manifests itself. But I think that ability to sort of pick that out. And I remember ages ago in the Cotswolds, quite a well-known male business owner said to me, Anna, you can never make money out of connections, building connections. It's a lovely thing to do. And I was like, okay. And I was like, so bit like my history teacher who told me a predicted score at one time, and I was like, there's no way I'm getting that. So I think that's the other thing. I'm very driven. So like, if I'm passionate about it, I'll do my damned hardest to make it work. And if and you know, and on the way, it's not always smooth sailing. You know, there will be ups and downs and highs and lows. But I think, you know, at the time it will feel horrible, but you can sort of step back and think, okay, right, this didn't happen for this reason, or actually I learned so much from this experience. So that sort of positivity, I think I try. I'm definitely a glass half full type of person.
Yeah.
I always forget phrases. Yeah. So I think it is that the talking, the connecting, and just that love of people. Really, I just love to be able to help people, to meet people, and I love to travel. So I kind of talk quite a lot to people when they, because I still have a lot of clients in different countries, is because I've lived in a few different places and I've actually lived their experiences. I can give you that global perspective because I've done it myself, but I can also make it very local too. So there's that two side to like how I'm helping them. So, you know, someone say, oh, I'll help you launch in America. They could be the most amazing strategist and, you know, launch person, but if they've never lived there, I don't think anything beats having been there on the ground and lived and breathed that culture. Yeah. In order to, you know, help someone really understand it, because it will be very different. It will be extremely different how you approach something in the UK to something in the US. And I remember before I went there, I thought, oh, well, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to go and live in America when it came up with my husband's job, because I was just like, it's kind of the same. It's not very, it's not really cultural. And then I got there and I was like, what? This is so different. I didn't really appreciate until I was there, because you think you know it because, you've seen it in the movies, and I'd visited America a couple of times, but like, for a short holiday, but like not when you live and breathe it and you start to understand how the people work, what makes them tick, and all of those type of things.
Yeah. Anna, so you are someone who creates visibility for people. Give us some top tips. If we have young entrepreneurs or new entrepreneurs listening to this, what top tips would you give them? Where do you start?
Where do you start? Okay, so I think central to this is it's not, the first piece of advice is, do not worry when it comes to, like, if it's, let's start in, so think of your network, think of the network that you already have. How can you tap into those people? Like, never be afraid to ask for help. And that doesn't mean like, help me in this way, just like, do you know anybody? Ask that. Those people that know you already are going to start momentum on building your visibility, because they're the people that you have to say, can you engage in this? And that's don't sort of undervalue that network. Yes, it might be someone you've known for years. It could be your mum, but like, to begin with, just having some of those conversations, and that, so engagement in what you're putting out to the world is really, really important. So use the network first, then think how, like, I guess getting some assets is another really big important step. Photos of yourself that you love, because you are going to have photos, whether you like getting in front of a camera or not. Find a photographer who you gel with, who can bring out the best in you, so that you've got that profile picture that you're proud of, that you have a photo that you can put, if you're putting, even if you're, on your email signature. I quite like when someone has a photo, because it's like, oh, that's who I'm talking to. It could be like social. Obviously on social, all the platforms now require, they don't want to not talk to the person. People buy from people, so having those assets. And video is another big one. It took me 2 years to show up in a video, so I know it's hard but again, video is really, really key. And then it's just going through. I think I almost say to people, if you're starting out, I've got a few people I do a visibility challenge, where we work together for 30 days, and every day they get a different prompt. And this is not just a social media challenge. This is everything they can be doing about strategic engagement. This is about like what PR collaborations they could do. And PR doesn't mean you're like suddenly in national press. I mean, great if you are, but there's so many things that you could do, like even in just going out to local events. That is PR. That's still putting yourself out there. So again, trying to find like-minded people in the area you are. So even if it means you go and you have a coffee and you work at the same table together, ideas will happen because you're surrounded by people. Go to the networking events. Networking, I think, has such a bad name, like often. But I think if you're thinking of networking 5-10 years ago, is so different to what it is today. Often it's a casual chat. It's not like standing there and like speed dating and all of that kind of thing. It's much more of a natural thing, I believe. So I think and I think once you start, I said just start. Imperfect, it doesn't matter. People aren't looking for perfected. They want real people to talk to know like why you're doing what you're doing, who you are, and like what you offer. Like, start with those 3 messages, and that why is where you'll start to build, like, people will be able to relate to like your story, why you're doing something. And then that's when conversations, it's all about starting a conversation. And the hardest thing to do is start. But once you've started, and then it's like trying to build up that consistency. And again, when I talk to people about consistency, they'll reel off all these facts that they've seen on social media. And I said, consistency is different for everybody. Consistency could be once a week, if that's what suits you. Obviously, you won't build momentum in the same way, but do what feels comfortable. Start. Often I get people to start on things like stories, like if Instagram is one of their main channels. Stories and in person might be their comfort zone, and stories has its own completely different algorithm, and people can grow a business. Obviously they have to have something on the grid, but like stories for getting to know you and just turning up, like, and being yourself and thinking it's there for 24 hours. let me tell them what happened today in my life. People are nosy, people like to know. And that illusion that you are doing things, like, even if it's to you seems very boring, it's not that exciting. People are like, accounts that are just have no life don't get any traction. And it's that, it's creating that bit of that buzz that will help start to spark like conversations and connections that, you know, you weren't necessarily going, it don't have that whole mindset of like, I've got to make a connection, I've got to just turn up as yourself and be authentic, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Anna, so what do you feel are the sort of challenging parts in your life?
In my life, so I think, again, it's that it one is the consistency. Like, it's hard work to show up and be your best, but I think it's reminding yourself that I personally don't believe, like, to say, oh, I'm going off on a month's holiday and then just disappear is a particularly great strategy. But I do think if you need a rest and you need to take a break, then do it. Like, but plan it, you know, plan the rest a bit and have that sort of things ticking over. It doesn't have to be like loads, but I think one of my things is, if you are like me, a very high energy person, I like can almost overgive, and that is takes a lot of energy. But, and I've, you know, as I've got older, you know, and getting to that sort of midlife time in life, my energy levels aren't quite where they used to be. Like, I still, you know, go and work out and do these things, but like, it's recognizing that things do change and you need to change your routines and your systems
Mm,
accordingly. So I think doing consistency the right way for you is really important. Knowing when to take a break is really important, and that is not failure. That is just actually going to fuel what you do rather than put out the momentum, because sometimes, like, a tired Anna turning up is not going to give the same
yeah.
service or like insights as, you know, high energy Anna. So it's really important that I do that. And then I think, what was the other one I kind of thought of? I think the other big one is never ever be afraid to ask for help. So when I started my first business, I thought, I've got to do this by myself. You know, it's a sign of failure if I go and ask for help. It is fundamentally not. And you cannot do being a female founder on your own. So whether that's just people you know, and you, like we talked about, co-working or turning up in spaces and you've just got people around you, that's one thing. Mentoring, like, I wouldn't have set my this business if I didn't have a mentor, and I didn't initially pay my mentor. There are so many amazing free mentoring options, like Enterprise Nation do something, Albright do something. There's so many. But then also, when it's the time is right, almost, I think one of the hardest lessons I learned is I didn't invest in my business and myself early enough. Like, I kind of thought, oh, I can't spend money before I'm getting enough money in. But sometimes, in order to do some of this visibility, show up as yourself, you need that sounding board. You need that person, that reassurance to keep going, because at first, none of this is quick. It's not like instantaneously you're going to put up one post and you're going to suddenly have a business. No, it's going to take a bit of time. So, you know, when you're having that wobble to think, I'm not sure, like, no one's really, I don't feel like I'm getting the traction. I really thought people would like want this offer, and suddenly it's not. Obviously, you know, you'd sit back and review, was it the messaging, was it this? But it's being mindful. Things take time and longer than you probably think and maybe want to admit. And so it's just planning it like that. But also, you know, I couldn't be without the women I surround myself in. And therefore, if I'm stuck on something, there's nearly always, in whatever, you know, I'm in a various different communities, I go and ask for the help, and I'm not now afraid to ask for the help. Where, and then, yeah, I'd say they're the really big ones. Probably the other one, which I haven't probably talked about enough, is undervaluing yourself. So when I very first started, again, I see this all the time with the women that they think, oh, you know, I've just left my job and I'm not doing exactly the same. I don't have loads of experience, because a lot of people maybe have changed exactly what they were doing. So they may have been doing, you know, I don't know, they might have done a corporate career in, I've got one lady who I work with, she was in finance and accounting. She became a property finder because her passion is all about property. And she was like, oh, but I just, you know, I don't want to charge this. And I was like, but why? Like, you've got the track record, you've done all this. Just because it's not directly related, here are all your transferable skills. This is what you're bringing to the table. You've got amazing local knowledge, which a lot of the people coming to you are relocating to this area. They don't have that. So never, I think, you know, what you don't want to do is undercharge, because generally what I found is the people that pay the least amount are often the most needy as
Absolutely.
well. They're often the people that need more of your help, more of your attention. So don't, you know, you need obviously a suite of options for different budgets, but don't start too low that then they're your energy drainers and like suckers type thing, and really bring you down. And then you don't have enough time to really serve the people that are paying you a lot more money and deserve the attention, because you're, you know, doing minor, like little details that are kind of not that important, but you kind of, because they're paying, you thinking, oh, I've got to help them. So I think, you know, it's making sure that you have a real, you stay strong on like, I am good at what I do, this is what I want to charge. But I'm not saying that is easy to begin with, but I have learned that in a lot of the time in the hard way. And now I help other women, and they're just, it's incredible to see, like suddenly they're like, oh, I only worked with 3 clients this month instead of 6 last month, and I've got more money. And I'm like, yes, because of how, like, look at your results, look what you've done. And it's just going back and looking at what you've delivered in order to do that.
Yeah. And a lot of what you said resonates. And I must say that a lot of it we all struggle with, right? Even if we've, been going for a little while, this consistency
Yeah.
seems to really be the key. And I'm finding that out for myself. And sort of these quick wins that you feel at the beginning are giving you sort of air under your wings. Actually,
Yeah.
that's great, but it's the little things that you put on every day that then make the difference in the algorithm to pick you up, etc.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are your plans and goals, Anna? Where are you heading? What are you sort of planning for your agency and yourself in the next years?
Okay. So my goal is to become like a leading global visibility expert, really, to help women globally to have the confidence to work collaboratively with other experts that I know can fill the gaps that I can't offer. So bringing them together in more offers. So I'm about to like slightly not rebrand, but like go through, you know, Anna, your agency next level with a new website. And I want to offer up some different offers that I've seen have evolved over time, where people need that next level of help. So like a 30-day group program is great, but people actually, the hardest thing people find often with the work that I do is the accountability to keep doing it. So they might be gung-ho to begin with, and then it kind of, again, comes back to that consistency part, that they need that sort of longer mentoring offer or something else. And I would love, like, one day to have like a huge event that is all about visibility, female founders, inspirational speakers. So I think they're kind of 2 or 3 of the big things, and some more like in-person kind of events where I build on that connection, but doing it sort of my way in a, you know, in a hopefully unique way too. And that would be here in the States, where I still work with a lot of clients. So yeah, I think that's kind of where I see it going, hopefully.
Anna, and what would you like people to take away from your story?
I think there's 2 things really. I'd say never dispel an opportunity at its first thing, because it can seem like it's first, when you first hear about an opportunity. So like my husband asked me to move to India on the day I returned from honeymoon because he got offered a job. And I was just like, you know, I could have said, lots of my friends were like, you're absolutely crazy. And I was like, I don't have any children. We might never have this opportunity again. Like what have I got to lose? It's for 2 years. I knew it had an end date on it. So I was like, it's 2 years of my whole life. So I think it's the same with opportunities. And on the flip side of that, so an opportunity might come your way, but also never be afraid to ask, because what's the worst someone can say? Someone might say no, but if you never ask, you could be sitting there thinking, if only I'd asked this person. And then you see somebody else working with them that you're like, oh, I wanted that to be me. So I think my sort of 2 mottos are never be afraid to ask, because that's how you build a connection. That's how you build a network. Ask for someone to go. And this is not big ask. This could be like, do you want to go for a coffee? This could be something really small that you just have a good feeling about something and you think, I want to get to know this person better. Do it. Like, do it. And, you know, and my final one is, if you ever get to live abroad, I personally think it's a life-changing experience. That's why I really wanted to do it for my children. So my children have now lived 4 years in America. They have really good friends there. They have amazing friends here. And it just makes you more adaptable and, I guess, open-minded. And it, the other thing is, it opens up the world. Like, it, as in, you know, I can now operate in the US and here. And that wouldn't have happened, I don't believe, if I hadn't have been to live in America. So I think it's just embrace the opportunities. Always ask for help, to do something with someone. You know, even if you think there is no way that person is gonna, you just don't know. Because I heard a story last week where someone had basically, there was like someone really quite famous, and they, oh, I know who it was. And the lady found J. Crew. I can't think of her name right now, but the lady who found J. Crew, she had a fashion brand, and she'd been connecting with her very organically, naturally. And she just thought, I'm going to ask her if she'll be my mentor. And she just said yes. Well, this was game changing for this woman's business because, you know, of her experience. But most people would be like, they're famous, they're not going to have time for me. And then they don't explore the opportunity. So that would be my kind of top advice.
Thank you, Anna, for all your insight and your tips and your guidance, and for telling your story today.
No problem. I enjoyed it. Thank you.